to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. All right, the minutes are approved. All right, now we're at public input. If anybody has 3 minutes worth of information they'd like to, but there's no volume still on this, right? You're gonna do that? Test, test, oh, wonderful. So this is, wow, that's pretty hot. It's pretty hot, pretty hot. I'm doing microphone stuff. So that's better. Sorry? You have a question for EJ. That's not really public input. So there's no comment you want to make about something? Oh, okay. So yeah. Okay. So that's you guys can discuss that. Code enforcement. Well, I know, but he's the. You Ray.
Last month they said they were gonna buy a mower to start mowing this levee over here.
I know.
They were gonna, someone was gonna purchase a mower or a tractor to start mowing this levee over here. It never happened.
It never happened.
House is at the other end of that.
I understand. So what can you do about that? Okay, so Thomas, you had some information about the tractor.
Yeah, I talked to Jordan Beaton. A tractor. What is this, a Taylor Swift concert? A tractor was going to be purchased. So Scott, did that tractor get purchased at all? Do you know? Can you? Did it arrive to our facility for it to be used?
I think that it's still at the, I think we're still awaiting delivery on it.
Okay, so you said at some point, if it wasn't delivered on time, it was going to be rejected, or at some point?
That's my understanding, yeah.
Is it still within the parameters or time frame that it still won't be? When is the rejection? Do you know?
I don't know the specific date of that, but
so the company that they bought the tractor from is still delivering the tractor, and if it's not delivered on time, I guess through a contract obligation, it will be rejected. So currently, it's being mowed out there using a 4Runner. Is that, Scott? Do you know anything about that, or
A quad.
our quad?
That's just a private citizen doing that.
Okay. Oh, that's a private citizen doing this?
Yes.
But Jordan told me they were actually doing it out there already. I'm not sure what equipment they were using. So.
well, I was told that the first section was quad. You can tell by the width of the blade that cut the grass. It's only a pole behind mow. Like, you know, just mow
If you need it, if you need it.
Is it being mowed down correctly? I mean, is it being mitigated at all, or?
My problem is it should be done professionally. At least with a water truck there or something.
Right.
There's a lot of rocks down
Okay, so they don't have the tractor that they originally purchased to do this with, so I guess that, she told me they were actually out there in the field doing work. Is something happening out there, guys, who lives in Upper Lake? I mean, is it being done?
Well, that section's done now, yes.
Yeah.
It's a bit rough.
I didn't see it during the day because I work in Kyle. But boy, I tell you, if I saw a four-wheel quad down in there, I'd have fish and game, and somebody come up and get the guy out of it.
Scott, are you aware if they're using a four-wheel quad?
They might be, we haven't
Okay.
purchased a quad with a mower, and that might be us out there. I'm actually trying to.
Stop, it's Fred.
Is it Fred?
Yeah, where he's lying at the water truck.
Oh, Fred, yeah, she told me it was Fred.
So we're mowing it thank you, Daniel. We're mowing it with a quad and a mower with a water truck, tender behind it.
And we don't know an ETA on the equipment that was bought for this,
No, we don't.
so.
Thanks, Daniela.
So that's what the situation is on that.
All right, well, we're gonna be talking more to Scott in a moment, so don't put that down like that. All right, any other public input? Allow, them to use.
Well, I mean, you allow them to ask a series of questions during public input, that's listed on your item right here on drought flood, you see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you allow, I'm just telling you that.
Okay, so what does that mean? So,
Doesn't mean anything, I'm just telling you, from here forward, you should stick to that rather than, because it's not fair to them that he needs to ask.
I didn't know it wasn't fair. I wasn't paying much attention. All right, so we should let them talk then. But he's gonna ask you a question. Would you like to ask a question?
Follow us back to the house.
Yes.
And,
Please speak into it.
anyway, we'd like to know what you thought about with them moving in with a trailer, camping, and no sewage or anything except for what they call the potties. It's in the RVs. Are they allowed to do that anymore? I mean, this is, you know.
Is that legal what they're doing in Queenie?
Well, there's no, unless they have a permit up there for building something, in which
Accessible now easier, but he's still going all over the mountain up over there.
So we need to follow up with making the complaints,
But
right?
are we right that, you know, that we showed you exactly what was going
It
on?
has to go to code enforcement.
Okay, I mean,
So if I say it's right and they say it's not, you know what I'm saying?
But what did you find up there when you went?
When I went up there, it was a trailer on the specific parcel that you mentioned.
right.
And that was it.
No septic tank, no nothing sitting there. No permits are even pulled.
Right, and so I seen what you told me was up there. I was able to.
Okay, I mean,
But they keep bringing more stuff up there,
Yeah.
more stuff up there.
Right.
more
So that's why
cars
we have to file-
and more cars every day showing up there. Leland's up there, his grandfather, especially today, he came down. All he do is watch me while I was working on my boat. Just he drove by like,
And he's harassing other
Right.
neighbors, Leland is, telling them, who are you, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
To one of our neighbors across the street.
He has
He's
been
lived
there.
there for 18 years, he's like, I live here.
So just for the sake of time, so they can get on, let's make a complaint together right after this. You
Well-
sit with me and let's make like 3 or 4 different complaints.
well, the complaints had already been put in.
You've been filing.
There's already been filed here, all three.
They haven't, no one's-
Haven't heard anything.
Do you have numbers or, file
I
numbers
sent you some of the numbers.
that you gave me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's follow up.
Betsy? Can you hear us, Betsy?
She's unmuted. Put her hand down. Okay, we're going to move on. All right, any more public input? Any other questions?
This is a good time to give
Yeah, you got,
an update on, I got a phone call from Dave about an input for what's going on out there on Blue Lakes Road.
yes?
Okay. So I'm Angie from the Narrows. So Mira Turner came out, and we had a nice chit chat. Showed her everything that I had brought to you guys, from neighbors and from the owner of La Trianon and stuff like that. She, listened to the complaints and so forth. She emailed me back, saying that some of the things that they are, this kind of squeals, that they are adding to the conditions of the project as far as the noise and amplified music. They are putting a cap on the hours from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m., but still allowing the amplified music, adding other conditions that require the speakers to be pointed away from our resort as well as the lake and everything like that. So that might be helpful. We won't know until it happens. As far as the erosion on what they've graded and stuff like that, they're adding something in there, a condition that requires the engineer, an engineer grading and drainage plan, to take a look at the stormwater. Let me read what she says here. Erosion. Properties below Rancho Nueva flooded last winter because of some site work apparently done by the Nuevas. I added a condition that requires an engineered grading and drainage plan in a manner that either retains stormwater or retains stormwater on site or channels it away from neighboring lots. All site work to be done prior to occupancy. If more than 500 cubic yards of earth are to be moved, then a grading permit is required. So they're adding that to the permit. And then she also put in here that a maximum of 40 vehicles is permitted for any special event. So she's trying to work some things out. 40 vehicles is more than we have on our busiest day, so that's still doubling the traffic out there on that road. But at least they are trying to work with some stuff and addressing some of the issues. I got a phone call about some petition or something that was going around.
I have a copy of that.
Perfect, I'd love to see that. I know that they are planning an event out there right now. He's out there stringing up lights and getting ready for an event that's probably in the next couple of weeks. I know that they don't have a permit for any of that.
Must be Labor Day weekend, I've heard.
Great. So anyway, so that's where I'm at with the county.
Thank you.
Miranda, yeah, she came out.
Yeah, because she asked me if she wanted me, she said, should I get involved?
Yes, yes. She texted me and she came out and had a nice chit chat, went over quite a few things, and so this is some of her resolutions. Any little thing helps, as long as we're communicating. I have mixed emotions about this illegal one that they're planning on September, for twofold. One, either it will go smoothly, there won't be any problems, and it'll be bright. They won't have very many cars, the music won't be too loud, and it'll all be fine, and then we have nothing to worry about. Or two, it's going to be exactly how I expect it to be, and it's gonna be loud music that's going to go throughout the whole entire lake, and there's going to be a drunken party with lots of cars up and down the road, and then we'll have pictures and recordings that we can bring to the hearing whenever they finally have the hearing.
All right. Thank you, Angie. Any more public input?
I got public input from Blue Lakes. One is related to the Rancho Novoa permit application. I don't know who is circulating this, I don't know who created it, but it's it goes into some detail. There's also a letter from Hal Zana Bennett, PhD, that lives on Irvine. He's got 8 concerns that are in great detail. And I have another one. It's a condensed version, it looks like, of Angela Carter. That's what I'm saying. It looks like a condensed version of your thing that someone has created that's going, these things, they're going door to door. No one has signed it. And the petition stopped now. There's no one, because they went to the wrong place first. And apparently somebody related to that project. And after they got and read the Riot Act, they came to my wife. And then I came back from Lakeport and got this just before the meeting. So I haven't studied it, haven't made copies. But another concern that I have there, along with anyone that rides a bicycle, anyone that rides a motorcycle, the County of Lake has allowed PG&E to do their undergrounding. Fantastic. But there is no road cleanup, the gravel is there, the sand is there, and it's a very dangerous situation all the way from Scotts Valley Road, and I don't know how far up toward yours they are, how far they've gone, but from Irvine actually to Old Orchard Avenue, which is just before the hill at Pine Acres, all the way to Scotts Valley, there's sand and gravel all over the road. Loose surface, and it's very bad traction. And we've had some close mishaps and a couple spills there. I complained last time about the intersection of Irvine and Blue Lakes Road, that the county should come out and do something. No one's done anything. But we need the county to take action and either have the contractor that did the work on the first section from 5236 Blue Lakes Road all the way back to Scotts Valley Road, clean up that section of road and sand and gravel. And now a new company has taken over from 5236 Blue Lakes Road all the way to you. And that's a different company. And they're worse than the first company. I haven't been up the hill where it says closed, resort open, but they said the only way they could do it was go down the center of the road with their ditch. They were afraid of going to the bank side because of slippage, and they were afraid of going to the hillside because the hill will come down on them when they did their testing. So they're going down the center of the road with the PG&E. And my concern, and all the people that live in the Blue Lakes Resort subdivision, and also the Wagon Cellar and all the way down and up into the Villa Blue, and all the way to you, all those homes, but there's loose gravel everywhere, and if kids were on bikes riding, they're gonna fall, which they have. Motorcycles have fallen at Irvine, and you know, who's liable? The county liable? Is the contractor liable? Is the homeowner liable? I said you shouldn't go so fast.
You mentioned the key element is PG&E. I can see we get invited. I talked to them on I've talked to them about this as well. I gave them the same concerns that you've all given me before.
But the concerns no longer is that the county of Lake owns a sweeping truck. If that truck made 3 passes, everything would be cleaned up. The county could go out and handle it themselves and then bill PG&E for the work, same as they would to a homeowner. But I'm just concerned that someone's going to get hurt, someone's going to go over the edge into the lake.
That might be something to discuss in the next conversation.
But we would like the, in the Blue Lakes area, we would like the Rancho Nova, N-O-V-O-A, permit application to be an agenda item, and we would like to hear from planning exactly where the status is at the next Worth meeting. We need it on the agenda. We need them to come and explain to all of us in the Blue Lakes area, because 40 vehicles sounds great. I know it's going to happen. I just put on a wedding there, and I invited 260 people, and they're going to show up with 130 vehicles. And there's nothing anybody can do on a weekend. They're just gonna park God knows where, everywhere up there. So there needs to be that addressed, and the road condition, who's gonna pay for the widening of the road? Because right now, if you go up there and, to that site from either way, from Blue Lakes Road, west, or from Irvine, it's, somebody's on the hill and somebody's gotta back up. And backing up right now is treacherous with the road condition. But that needs to be addressed by the county. They should pay, those guys should pay, those guys being whoever's doing the development, should pay for the widening of all the narrow sections of the road. And we're talking millions there. So that's, but we would like to, the Blue Lakes area residents would like to see this on the Worth agenda.
So you want to make a motion?
I can make that motion. If it needs a motion, I just thought if we decide as a whole, us sitting here, that should be an agenda item. I know we'll get people from Blue Lakes here. And if we can get the county representatives to come and explain to us how this is going to be handled if they go forward. And if you go to their website right now, I can book a wedding, and they're taking the app. I went there and looked at the app, and the rumor is that Labor Day weekend they're having a big bash there. And the amplified music, when they aim it at the hillside, will echo to my house clear a mile away. So that's just food for thought of aiming. Its volume is what they need to cut down, the sound volume. But that's in the permitting process. Because when you have your parties, live music at the Narrows, no, this is in the past. Everybody in the lake everybody gets to enjoy it. When Pine Acres does it, everybody gets to enjoy it. And I know when those guys do it, everybody's going to enjoy it. But that we would just like to see it as an agenda item on the next Worth Town Hall. Does it need a motion?
Yeah, to put it on the agenda, it would.
Really?
Yeah.
So moved.
I'll second.
And what specifically is the motion?
Rancho NOVOA permit application status.
So we want.
That's broad, is that broad enough, EJ? That, we just want to hear what the county has planned and all the mitigating things that are going on, and
Well, you just motioned and seconded, so
Yeah.
what you have to do is, once you motion and seconded, whatever you've just done, you write to them and ask them to be here. And CC me so I can be part of it.
and the one that's mentioned all the time is Eric Porter, Associate Planner. He's in all this paperwork.
Yeah.
Still would address the director, so.
Yeah, the director and whoever staff he wants to come.
All right, we have a motion and a second to include this
Rancho
permitting
permit application status.
status. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. Okay, the motion passed. It will be on the agenda.
So Angela, we need to get a crowd here. And it'll be after they did their illegal thing on Memorial Day weekend, so it'll be interesting.
The third.
Third Wednesday.
You gotta confirm if they'll come, though. You have to make sure they'll come.
I'm not, yeah.
Because if they do go forward with an event unpermitted, it's a shot in the foot for them, I feel.
You want the director, who do you want, the director or the project manager? Who do you-
Who's ever in charge of the permitting for this, whoever signs off on it, who's the person that's gonna sign off on this? That's the person that we'd like, or if there's 3 people involved, we'd like to see all 3 here. Explain it to us. Because the Blue Lakes, we're against it. We're against the project unless improvements are made to that road. Improvements are made for drainage at that site. Because we have enough, that's what shut down Montanos, it's what shut down all the development projects on that mountainside, was drainage, is where does the water go? Where's the runoff go? We're all on septic there. That septic, is it acceptable for that many people? If they're if they're claiming that they're gonna have 260, they have to have either porta potties to come in, come out, or, I don't know. But I know right now they have an illegally working septic that drains to the lake.
All right, we'll do our best.
Let's get them here, and
Yeah,
Yep.
all right. Thank you, Dave.
But
I'm curious about the obligations that need to be outlined in this permit application, because I'm thinking there's a security issue. Are alcohol and drugs prohibited in this area? Is there an age, or if alcohol is permitted, is there an age cutoff for persons who will be allowed to participate? And it feels like they're taking advantage of running the clock off the calendar, because I'm not
I
hearing.
didn't hear that.
It feels like they're basically planning on running the clock out, because there's a very narrow window in which the county has to respond or prohibit these activities. And just on the face of it, 40 vehicles with a minimum of 3 to 5 people each car, that's a lot of people on this property. I think that you could run out of Andy Gumps with that kind of volume.
Some input on that. So, also, I think I mentioned it in the last meeting as well, that, so there is going to be a hearing or whatever they call it.
Planning commission.
Yes.
Under planning.
Yes, and it won't be for, they told me a few weeks ago, it won't be for a couple of months, because they have to clear their calendars and schedule that. So there is supposed to still be this hearing. So that's still on the books to be scheduled, from what I understand, and that, those who have filed complaints, and there's been several, will all be notified of that hearing at that time. As far as, people, just because they've, put in here that only 40 cars, I know that the owners have told us that they plan to have people park at one of the local rancherias and shuttle them back and forth. The permit itself, application, I have a copy of the original one. It's probably 60 pages long. It's very vague, very confusing, and I'm happy to email it to anybody who wants it. But as far as, times and alcohol and things like that, it's all very vague, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Big road right there.
No, when they wanted, they came over, I think I mentioned last month, you may have not have been here. They came over and asked.
No, what I'm saying is, where did you find out there's a shuttle?
Yes, they came over and asked my husband and I to purchase the property because everyone was so unhappy. And so during that conversation, we asked them, what is your plans exactly? And they said that, oh, this is how we want to keep the traffic down. We're gonna be having them park over on over at one of the local rancherias at Upper Lake, and we're gonna be shoveling back and forth to try to keep the traffic down. That was
So
one
it would be this drive.
of they said,
So they have to.
but they say a lot of things.
Right, and so that's the thing, is next time I ask them which drive, who do they see, what do they see?
I don't make friends with them very well, but my son does, so I will send him over there to get some more information. I was gonna send him over tonight, because he's out there stringing up lights, so I don't have to
When
park.
planning happens, here's the thing, if we're asking them to be here, right? If they
Yeah.
come, which we're pretty sure that they might, right? So, but either or, you have to look at it from both perspectives. They can come here, they can hear you, they'll look at it, do whatever to mitigate what you want or whatever's happening, right? It's potentially what can happen. Or planning will happen, and that's where you all have your
Input.
that's when you have your, basically your most ideal time, because you're gonna tell them all these things that you
Yeah.
noticed. Dave, you give that same spiel you just gave now, planning commissioners are gonna look at that and decide from there.
Exactly.
And deny the project right then and there.
Well, I just want the public to be able to come before the planning commission, because I know that's 90 days in the offing.
Maybe stop it with her, meeting with her. I don't know if that's, I mean, even if you bring them here, I don't know if that's even gonna stop it. I'd like it to for you.
No, we're not looking to stop it. We want them to hear we want to hear what they've submitted to the county, what the county's planning, whatever the status is.
Yeah, but I will come prepared with all the information that I have, as well, that I've brought past, as well as more stuff, because it's an ongoing
Yeah.
process.
Try to get them here. Let's CC me.
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, you want to know what's happening and whether it's all above board, basically, right? I mean, you want, and it's like if there are concerns about the project, then you want them addressed.
Yeah. I got one more concern. And this one came from Kay Litton, the former tax collector for the County of Lake. She was driving up Main Street and coming off of First Street here, she almost got ended her life right there. If she wasn't in a Subaru that said, stop. The people could not see because they've got the crepe myrtle tree, the bushes are high, and they did not see her squatty-bodied Subaru. And they were just, and they just pulled out right into her. And her car,
Pulled out from where?
from First Street.
But I mean, what, they were pulled out from their property?
No, they're on the highway, right on the road where we have those wonderful traffic calming things that we planted, very tall trees that are gonna, right now, they're right at eye level of a vehicle. So they did not see her.
So
And-
this is
and
a
she was going-
This is a traffic thing.
It's a traffic
All
thing,
right, so we'll just hang on to that for a moment.
but
We're
it's
gonna
right
start-
there,
we're
right,
gonna start-
but,
we're gonna start
but
talking
being
about
that
traffic.
she's Kay Litton, former tax collector for the County of Lake, and I work with her at the Elks Lodge.
Yep.
She rattled my cage really hard the last 3 days.
And she lives in this area?
She lives up on Elk Mountain.
Okay.
But she said that's very dangerous with the plants that the county has
Okay, well,
allowed to be
let's-
planted there.
We'll definitely try to talk about that in the next section. Okay, so we're gonna, obviously, we're moving on from public input. And now we're gonna start Department of Public Works. Now, the first item was unsafe traffic at Upper Lake Schools, right? Would you like to say anything, Claudia?
Do you want to present the letter or now?
That's at the last. We better go according to the list.
I'm a board member at Upper Lake Unified School District, and I have a vested interest because my two granddaughters now attend the new Upper Lake Elementary, the block there. And I've witnessed over and over unsafe speeds when those parents who are coming late, coming around the corner off of Clover Valley Road onto Second, and it is next to alarming. Something needs to be done because parents are parking on the other side of the road, and there is no designated crosswalk whatsoever for them to get back and forth. Yesterday, I witnessed a near, parent-child vehicle accident with nowhere for them to go out and to get across the street to their vehicles. The concept that Ray and Mary have brought forth about the speed bumps, I really think would be highly beneficial. And not only that, the speed in this town is absolutely frightening. And I manage the senior center. I'm alarmed to say that I worry for some of the seniors that are coming in to that facility because of the speed. Yeah, from Mendenhall, it's a speed track. And I saw the other morning, the first time I'd seen a CHP, he had pulled over a parent, and then later there was an accident at the senior center, and a CHP officer showed up there. And getting back to, I took a picture of where I, a layperson, feel that a crosswalk should be designated going from the new facility across the street for parents who are parking. Parking is, what would you say, a golden gift, because We now have over 420 elementary children, and a good portion of the parents travel, bring their children back and forth. So the increase of the vehicles on that road at 8 o'clock in the morning, you had better not even try if you're a layperson to get out, because it's bumper to bumper dropping off children, and the same at 2 o'clock to pick up. I presented this at the board meeting last Tuesday and talked about my concerns, and that I was, we had developed a concern via the Worth Committee. And I said, are there any other issues that you principals are viewing? And Mike Smith let me know that there is not a safe crosswalk designated from the middle school to the high school. All the middle school students pass from the middle to the high school for their meals. I happened to be down there just the right time this morning, and I've visualized it myself. So the students have to go down. There's a very faded crosswalk. There was a young man holding a stop sign, he didn't put a lot of energy into keeping it up. But the students have to go down there, cross over, and walk back up to the new cement sidewalks. And I said, this is not even adequate. And I said, show me where you think it should be. Well, there's a designated walk-off, but no designated crosswalk for them to cross. So they're coming up from back here when they could go straight across, get onto that sidewalk without having to almost come in contact with the bus barn. So I'm hoping that Mr. DeLeon will hear my pleas for somebody to come out and visualize the real safety issues that we're encountering here at Upper Lake Unified School District.
Thank you, Claudia. And the second item was concerning speed limit signs in Nice and other areas. This is more or less one that I put on. That we're not asking to change the speed limit. I know that the California, the 85th percentile and all that stuff, you got to do a traffic study to do anything. And I didn't see why. We're not asking to change the speed limit. We're just asking for it to be noticed so that people can be reminded that it's a residential area. It should be 25 miles an hour.
Excuse me, Tim.
Go ahead, Kate.
Aren't there certain conditions that a roadway during a certain period of time, that there can be a temporary imposition of a different road?
You mean like in front of a school or something like that?
Right.
Yeah, I think in Upper Lake they do have a sign like that around the
25 miles.
Yeah, and it's got the children present and all that kind of thing.
Well, what we need is enforcement then.
Yeah, that's one thing.
If enforcement were brought to bear over a narrow period of time,
Oh,
it.
then you're saying pinpoint enforcement.
You increase the number of signs, so over a 2-week period, people are on constructive notice were they to read, and then you start enforcing.
Okay, well that's an option, I'm sure, maybe. So anyway, perhaps Scott, you'd like to say something about general traffic things, or?
Well, sure. Good evening, everyone. I'll go ahead and stand up so y'all can see me. My name is Scott DeLeon. I'm the Public Works and Water Resources Director for Lake County, and appreciate the opportunity to be here. I don't know if you probably didn't see me from over there, but I was smiling when you said we need more enforcement. That's the key to this, because just about everything that you have talked about today is an enforcement-related issue, and that's where you really have to get started, is getting the CHP to perform more enforcement, and that is not an easy task. They are going to tell you you know, the number of officers they have versus the miles of roadway they need to patrol. And I think collectively, this group, together with your school board, I think you need to start there. And when that doesn't work, then we need to be looking at other means. I've been taking notes as everyone's been talking, so I've got quite a bit of homework to do when after tonight's meeting, but I wanted to talk about a couple of things. First of all, PG&E and their pavement restoration or lack thereof. I don't think it's a secret that we've been struggling with PG&E. They have done a significant amount of damage to county roads, not just behind Blue Lakes, but county-wide. We have increased our involvement with them to the point where just a couple weeks ago I had a meeting with the regional vice president of PG&E and expressed to him my significant lack of acceptance of their work, and he's agreed to do quite a bit of pavement restoration. At the meeting, he agreed to completely rebuild the roads in Blue Lakes that were impacted by that trench. So we're going to see, and I made a note here to find out when that's going to happen, and I'll follow up with Supervisor Crandall so that he can share that information with you. But we certainly haven't been happy with PG&E as much as you have not been happy with them. I hear your comments about Rancho Novoa. We share those concerns. We've made several comments to the planning department regarding lack of road width and concerns about traffic safety there. So we're kind of following along with that project as well. I know that we asked for a traffic study. I don't know what the status of that is. Again, that's a note that I've taken to find out what the status of that is. I'll follow up with your supervisor and so he can give you an update. But we share your concerns about the development of that property from a traffic standpoint. It's I've been on that road many times, and I know the concerns. And I also chuckled when they were talking about the music at your location, and that, you know, and I can assure you that at 10 o'clock things get quiet at her resort. I was playing a guitar around a campfire at 10:01 and was promptly shushed. So yes, unfortunately, fortunately, the whole rest of the neighborhood did not hear that. So anyway, I took notes about First Street and Main. We actually have a request for stop control intersection at First and Main. It requires a series of studies. We're in the process of doing those. And then I also have a note about the speed of vehicles on 2nd Street. Yes, Tim?
Are these studies done in accordance with that 2020 California speed limit procedure?
Yes. All traffic. So the speed studies is 85th percentile, but the traffic volume study is what's necessary for the stop control. So we're performing or in the process of getting that analysis performed. You know, the speed on 2nd Street is not a new thing. I can recall Mr. Rates, who I've known for many, many years, coming to my counter and complaining about the speed on 2nd Street, and we installed a driver feedback sign on 2nd Street as a result of a visit from Mr. Rates years ago. And so the first thing we need to start with is CHP and seeing if we can get them to do additional enforcement. The County Public Works Department received a grant recently for some crosswalk improvements, and there were 2 of those scheduled for the Upper Lake schools. One of them was at 2nd Street and Elliott Street, where there is an existing crosswalk. It would be improved with lights and flashing signs and things.
Scott, since the addition of the new wing, that's where the problem is.
Okay.
There are issues with, you come off this road, they're trying to have controlled traffic, but it is very congested, and I'm very fearful that a child might be harmed. I mean,
Okay.
it's gotten to that level of, and what about speed bumps to slow them down? Because
So-
first and second are absolutely
Right.
speed zones.
So one of the things that you learn in Traffic Engineering 101 is that speed bumps are not to be used for the control of speed. Yes, they do work, but they are not that's not their intent. However, you start with enforcement, and when enforcement doesn't work, then you go on to other methods.
But we're talking about the availability of CHP, and honestly, those 2 days were the only times I'd ever seen a CHP in this town, and I'm back and forth a lot. So
Right.
I understand what you're saying, that we need eyes on the site and so forth, but the availability of the CHP to come and mitigate such situations, but
I would encourage you as this organization, in partnership with your school boards, to continue to put pressure on CHP for continued enforcement. And and in the meantime, we're going to do some improvements with the crosswalks that will be illuminated. They're going to have flashing lights and different things, that's what I would suggest.
yeah, and the middle school is the one that really needs attention as well, because those students are, again, crossing at a very faded crosswalk, and it leads them up around past the hub and then onto the sidewalk. Well, where it should be, they would have a straight, safe walk across and hit the sidewalk and then proceed on to the high school cafeteria.
Okay. Is that at the intersection of 2nd and Clover Valley,
No,
or is it
they-
down? It's down a little ways from
Right,
the
yeah, I
intersection.
took a picture of it this morning and actually got to see what was,
I think I have that picture, or I have
I
a
don't.
picture of that same
I
thing.
don't.
Let's
I
talk,
can't see that far.
and that's one of the sites, that's one of the locations that's scheduled for
right, and this
improvement.
would eliminate, they would go straight across safely right onto the again, the sidewalk, as opposed to having to walk up and across and then hit the sidewalk.
Okay.
So you'll see it.
Could you
Okay.
bring that picture from Scott over here?
Bring that.
Yeah, so that you can see it if that is the right picture.
Could you add to your list 2nd Street and Middle Creek, the stop sign, that 3-way intersection?
Oh, this is
Mountain, right, the one that goes to that hill, you're talking about.
yeah, this is the high school. No, I'm talking about, yeah. This is the high school, which it's closed off now anyway. You can't get through that.
So what street is
This
this?
is-
What street is this?
I'm talking about Old Lucerne Road, right there, and there's a downside,
You can send this picture to Scott.
yeah.
Yes, send it to me.
I'll
Se-
just show it to you.
That's in front of the middle school.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is, no, it's just fine.
Is this one back?
So you can,
Yeah, and it goes down right there, and there's a designated walk-off, but it hits the road.
Is that crosswalk here?
It's Old Lucerne and,
From the parking lot.
Old Lucerne, and it would, yeah, it's straight across from the high school.
okay.
And you can see, yeah, in the middle school. So
Is
they'll
that
be
in the
given a-
letter that you
No,
guys are-
I just did this.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
because-
I got it, I made a note of it. Okay,
That's the heaviest traveled spot of all the crosswalks.
down at that, the south end of the high
Right,
school?
yeah, because it's all of the 6th, 7th, 8th grade go across
Okay.
there for their meals.
Okay, we'll take a look at it. Yes, ma'am?
I have a question back to the speed bumps. You're saying put pressure on CHP. Well, if you put pressure on CHP, that means they would have a car drive by at 8 o'clock, 2 o'clock, which I don't see happening. I'm there every day. And they're short staffed. And a lot of schools are getting out around the same time also. So why can't we just get speed bumps? I know you said that's not what they're for, but if it's slow getting out.
Can we talk about the tables?
Yeah, so one of the options, is a raised crosswalk that, you know, is like a tabletop, for lack of a better term, which it forms, it's a crosswalk, but it also forms a speed hump, is technically what it becomes. And several feet wide, yes. Yep.
I pick up several children there every day. I transport them. I have never seen a highway patrol there.
But I mean, I think the idea of the raised thing with the crosswalk, that's like a double, that would be a double sort of.
Because I don't see CHP doing, I mean, as much as they want to, they're short staffed.
But I don't even see why they'd be in Upper Lake.
But even if a car is on the road right then, people are gonna start driving nice while they're there.
Yeah, of course.
The next day, they'll be back to the way they were.
Well,
And there is a heavily trafficked area. I mean, the whole of all those parking spots are full. I don't go down to the other end, but at one point it was very full there. Mary,
Okay,
are
we'll-
you picking up there?
We'll take a
the
look at
other
all
end?
those.
Okay.
You bet. Okay?
Scott, have
Yes.
you looked at the rumble strips ahead of the crosswalk so that they know there's something? Has that ever been looked into, 50 feet before that?
You think the music from Rancho Novoa is gonna be a problem. Wait till you have to live next to those rumble strips. They are extremely loud. Yes, they are effective, but there's a lot of negative, impact from those for the neighbors. I would not recommend that at all. I think if we were going to do anything around your school where your crosswalks are, the raised crosswalk is probably going to be the best option. It's going to do the two things. It's going to be safer crosswalks and more defined crosswalks, and it's going to act as a speed hump.
What would be your timeline, Scott, for having somebody come out, take pictures, and then, because, all schools start, how long would that study be? Because we're right in the midst of a new school year.
Yeah, the time for construction around the school is not, right now is not a good time, obviously. And I would say next summer would be, for construction, would be the time that we'd probably look at. If there's something we can do sooner, we'll try, but it's, as you know, around construction around the school zone is gonna be a real mess.
Well, we've been in a construction zone with the new addition, but what about, to begin with, something that would be, I think, simpler would be to have somebody come out and look at the middle school situation, because I sat there and watched it this morning, and it's not safe at all for.
Okay, yeah, we'll come out and take a look at it.
Okay.
Are the crosswalks going to be refreshed soon?
I've made a note for that, to have our paint and sign crew take a look at those. Yep.
Let's document.
You had a question. those little placards, those things that they put in the middle of the road. Mhm.
Okay, Tim, on the agenda under A, it says speed limit signs it says speed limit signs in Nice and other areas. Discussion. Scott, the speed limit signs on Irvine, Blue Lakes Road, coming off of the hill are either so badly faded and vandalized that they're unreadable. And I believe the one on coming off the highway on Irvine got run over several years ago and has never been replaced. So coming off the 50 mile per hour onto Irvine, there's no 25 mile per hour sign. And
Okay.
coming down the hill into the residential, that sign is so faded in front of 305 Blue Lakes Road, it's unreadable. We cleaned the sign coming off of Mid-Lake on the Blue Lakes Road. It was, somebody had spray painted the whole thing black. We took paint remover and cleaned it all up, but I don't know if it's reflective anymore.
Okay.
So
I've made a note.
those need to be looked at, not next summer, but
Got it.
right now it'd be good. And if the street sweeper can sweep all that.
Well, I heard you talk about the street sweeper. Our street sweepers are involved in about a 18-mile chip seal project on Scotts Valley Road right now. Personally, I'd rather have PG&E clean up their mess, and that's what we're going to talk to my staff about tomorrow morning.
They have the
I've got
truck,
a,
the
I've
truck
got a
was
note.
there and they took it away.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
You neglected to mention the name of the vice president at PG&E that you're dealing with.
Well, I neglected because I can't remember it.
Well, I think it would be useful for the Bloom and or Lake County News to have this kind of information. I think sometimes putting a name and a face forward for the responsible group is a useful practice by way of news.
Well, while I appreciate that, I think there is some discretion that needs to happen, and I'll consider your request.
There's also, PG&E has public relations people. Melinda Rivera is one, and I think probably it would be good to go to somebody like that first.
I appreciate your courtesy in considering the boundaries, the personal boundaries of your relationship with that vice president, but it's your responsibility as a public works person to put pressure where you can.
And
Because we're talking about lives of children, we're talking about safety in terms of recreational use of these different roads, in addition to just the everyday experience of taking a child to and from school. And so sometimes you have to weigh that gentility.
Only if there's nothing else you can do. Obviously, we're trying to work.
If you had a child going to those schools in
Absolutely.
Upper Lake, it might put
Or
a little more pepper.
if you've lost a child.
I'm hearing what you're saying.
Thank you.
Scott?
So obviously, within the bounds of propriety, we want to put as much pressure on the weakest link that we can.
Would you suggest that a letter from Worth to the, no, I'm talking about the CHP, because I've contacted them before, but not with the form, just as a personal, and I realize that throughout this county, the lack of staff is constantly brought forth, but again, that's, I would think that maybe around every once in a while, if they could do that. And do you think that that would be appropriate for us as a Worth committee to create a letter of our concern for traffic control?
I don't think that's gonna hurt one bit. I think that that's actually a really good idea.
Okay, good.
Do you want him here next meeting? Because I
Yeah.
told him to be here in July. He couldn't in July.
That would be great.
Well, I think we had someone else here in July, and then August, this month, he said he couldn't because he was out of town. But he said after this month he would.
That'd be perfect.
Because I've been touching base with him about either this map or the central region town, because they've been wanting me to.
Okay, that'd be great. Getting the CHP here.
CHP, well, next month we do have a presentation from Caltrans about work they're doing in the North Shore.
Tim.
So we have to keep that in mind too. Yes. So, Scott, we have a letter that we're gonna read to you. And you're gonna do it, yeah. And
I am?
And you can actually take it.
You speak well.
You want to do a copy?
Oh, she's got one.
How
She
about-
wrote it. Oh, most of it.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
We
we're-
collaborated, so go.
Here. No. Scott, do you have the letter?
Do I
Here's a
have
copy.
it? No.
Okay.
Here's a copy.
All right, it says, "Dear Mr. De Leon, I'm writing on behalf of the Western Region Town Hall for the 3rd District to urge the Public Works Department to allocate funding for improving road safety in and around the Upper Lake Elementary School. The main and most dangerous area is 2nd Street in front of the entire Upper Lake Elementary to the stop sign as you enter Clover Valley Road. In fact, there is no stop sign as you turn in the corner off of Clover Valley Road to 2nd Street. Moreover, the traffic from Clover Valley Road to 2nd does not have a stop sign, and the cars, parents picking up their children are traveling at a very unsafe speed on 2nd Street. We recommend putting speed bumps on 2nd Street and a stop sign on Clover Valley Road. We cannot afford to have a tragic accident. These children are precious and must be protected. Thank you, and this is the Western Region Town Hall with all members participating, so, including,
Thank you for that.
sure.
All right, are there any more questions for Scott?
Yeah, actually, it's, I have a question, actually not about the speed bumps. Chairman, can I ask about outside the agenda or not? Since Scott's
Outside the
with us.
agenda, no, not really.
What's the concern?
What's the concern?
What's the update on the, I know you're chip sealing Scott Valley currently and Scotts Valley Road. Was that a part of the road resurfacing program that we were made aware of by Chairman Crandall that was supposed to start in North Shore originally?
5-year plan, you mean?
The 5-year plan?
Yes and no. Those roads were included in that 5-year, which turned into a 10-year plan. But we had plans to do those roads prior to that.
So North Shore is where it's on the agenda. Is it for next year or?
No, Cobb Mountain is on the schedule for next year.
So why is North Shore not on the agenda sooner than Cobb Mountain, or where are you doing it now?
Well, I took the 5-year plan to the board and for comment, and as you pointed out, the North Shore was in year 1, and Cobb Mountain was in year 5, and there was quite a bit of concern expressed about the Cobb Mountain area had been through the Valley Fire. Their roads had been destroyed by fire suppression efforts, cleanup efforts. They're trying to rebuild up there, and the board came to a consensus that the rotation needed to change, and we needed to put Cobb Mountain as as year one. They're trying to rebuild there, and so that's what we're doing. It does not mean that the North Shore's not going to be addressed. Most of that work that's on those 5 and 10-year plan, or the 10-year plan, is being done by contract. So it's going to free up our crews to do more work and maintenance outside of that 10-year plan. So we have plans to have road construction plans put together for the towns of Nice and Lucerne. We know that Elk Mountain Road is in poor shape. We have some storm damage to repair on Elk Mountain. Though the North Shore has been taken off of year 1 and 2 on the 10-year plan, it doesn't mean that nothing's going to get done.
But you have no timetable.
No.
And you mentioned the BOS, the Board of Supervisors, made a decision to change the rotation, is that correct?
They didn't make the decision. There was a lot of discussion about it, and the consensus was that the rotation with Cobb Mountain being last was not appropriate. So we reversed the way that the improvements were going to be done. I took that back to the board in the final version of that plan, and that's what was approved.
So where
Where are
is
you getting
North
that,
Shore?
Thomas? Are you like saying that I agreed to this or something?
No.
I watched the video.
No,
I
he-
asked him the questions.
No, EJ, he just said the BOS was part of the decision-making process, so I was trying to clarify.
Okay.
I just didn't understand how that decision was made. No, I wasn't putting you in a defense. I'm not saying that. It's always about clarity in government. We just want to understand how things work and how decisions are made.
Yeah, I made the
And the-
decision
and
to
the-
reverse this. I made the decision.
Yeah.
Based on the comments that I heard at the board meeting, I made the decision to
Yeah.
reverse the rotation. And when I took that back to the board and I showed them what I had done and reversed it, that was the plan that they approved.
Okay, you mean they voted on it to approve it?
Mhm.
So where is North Shore in this new rotation? I think that's our
Last.
question.
It's towards the end of the 10-year plan.
Wow. Because we constantly are feeling in the North Shore that we're marginalized. We're always last in a lot of things. And it's just consideration to the road conditions, because I drive them and I also ride my bike on them. They're in really poor shape. So, that's just a comment from me.
Thank you, Tom.
So I want to reiterate that though the plan for road reconstruction has been reversed, that again, though that plan is a plan. It's not carved in stone, and that's what is exactly going to happen. It's going to depend on funding availability, plans availability, all those kinds of things. And so I'm making efforts to have plans for the reconstruction of communities done so that they're shovel ready. When funding becomes available, we can put projects out to bid. And these projects, again, I'm repeating myself, but these projects are going to be done by contract because they're significant projects. They're pavement rehabilitation, or beyond pavement rehabilitation. They are recycling projects, and those are things that we just don't have the equipment and the manpower to do. So we're going to hire that out for contractors to do, which will free up our guys to do more work on local roads.
All right, thank you.
And we will continue our chip seal program. We bought a new chip seal spreader this year. We're using it on our new project. It is an absolutely fantastic machine. I got to check it out today. Our guys, we have doubled the speed at which we can put chip seal down. And it's way more efficient. We have much less loss of chips. It's a great machine, and it's going to result in additional miles of of chip seal that we're gonna be able to do just because of the change in the machine. The other thing that we're doing is we're doing a lot more AC overlay underneath the chip seal. The ride quality after chip seal doesn't really change when you just put it right back on top of an existing road. So we're going in with AC blankets and we're paving with hot mix asphalt and smoothing those roads and improving them before we do the chip seal.
Is it
So-
sustainable through the winter time? Because I ride a lot on those roads, sometimes they start coming up through the rain and.
Well, brand new roads should be sustainable for many years.
So are those, what's been completed so far? Is it over there in Scotts Valley and then,
Yeah, so Martin, Riggs, Scotts Valley Road, Eichhoff, and Hendricks.
Was the new machine at Nice Lucerne Cutoff in Lakeshore, was that the new machine or was that the old style that was just done?
So I think what you're thinking about is probably our Durapatch machine, which is a pothole patching process. The chip seal machine is
Entire road bed?
It's a giant piece of equipment that actually tows a dump truck with chips.
Okay.
And then in front of it is a truck that we hire that lays down the emulsion, and then the chip seal machine follows it.
Okay. Because it was more of a patching job.
Yep,
that one.
that was a Durapatch machine, temporary.
On the chips that we use, oil, we use the latex.
Hot oil.
It's handy for 5 years.
Mm. 5 to 7.
25 years of coil.
It's a pavement rehabilitation.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
do we want to ask one more thing since Scott's here? I'm sorry, Scott, about the report for the Middle Creek project? The study report?
Any update?
Yeah,
on-
any updates on when the study's gonna be from, no?
From the Corps, their revalidation study, is that what you're talking about?
I think it was the Peterson Brewstad?
Peter and Brewstead supposed to come and report, and there was supposed to be a meeting.
There was gonna
Oh,
be a meeting.
yeah, I don't have an update on that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
It was due in November of 2022.
I still don't have an update on that, sorry. I'll have to get something to Supervisor Crandall.
What's the delay? Is it just process and evaluation from the study group?
To be perfectly honest with you, I haven't had any conversations with the consultant in quite a while, and so I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer, but I can get an update to Supervisor Crandall, and I'm sure he can share it with your group.
Yeah, we would appreciate it, because this has been a passion project of the community for, and you were here, of course, at that one meeting last year.
2 years.
We've been working on this over 2 years, and
Obviously, he's been aware of,
obviously. Yeah, if you can give us an update to the chairman, or to supervisor, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
I hope the compensation package for Peterson Brewstad is not like a New York City taxi cab. Where the meter is running even though you're sitting in traffic.
Thank you, Scott. Sorry?
I think she was asking basically about the contract with Peterson.
She's asking how much it will cost.
It's not like a running contract, is there a certain amount? I mean, I think we only approved a specific amount, right?
All right. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
To the Board of Supervisors. And we will, in front of you guys, and we should be there in the first. Okay. And how would it be? No, how would it be? All right, so supervisor. Ladies and gentlemen,
Contract comes back to the board, you should all probably will be scheduled for non-timed anyhow. So, rather than being on the consent agenda, it would probably be something that's on time, if it came back, which I don't anticipate it coming back.
So, and on
I'm
those,
just giving you like,
and those agenda items, there would be public,
time, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, both are, but the consent can be pulled by anyone.
okay. All right, so no fire district report tonight. Caltrans, I'll just say again that, Caltrans is going to make a presentation next month, and this is the, we are looking to get on the meeting agenda for the Worth to discuss our proposal for the areas around Upper Lake Nice. Okay, so they're gonna, I'm not exactly sure what all this entails, but it's Caltrans, and that's obviously highways, basically.
Chairman,
Yes?
I'm on the Public
PBAC.
Pedestrian, PBAC, Pedestrian Bicycle Advisory Council for Caltrans District 1. That's 4 counties, Del Norte, Mendocino, us, Lake County, and Mendo. Trevor is a planning person who's coming in to talk about future planning for the complete streets. And on complete streets is the funding source for safety in our corridor of Highway 20. And he's going to be presenting a PowerPoint presentation of what they're looking forward to trying to change and improve. I must tell you, since been on this board for it's been my 30 meetings, or it's every 4 months, that this is a long, like tonight that we've seen with Scott, it's a long-term project.
How long-term?
Well, the Lucerne Complete Streets Improvement, which he's not going to be presenting because is supposed to be started in 2030. So I don't know what year, I didn't talk to him personally about what he's looking at. They have to get the funding, but he's presenting what they would like to do to improve traffic calming and so forth. So that's what, he'll be here in the next meeting.
You need to keep your fitness up, don't you, Thomas?
For what?
So you can enjoy it in 2030.
Yeah, I gotta stay alive. That's what she's trying to say, so I can see what's going on.
All right. Do we have any discussion about droughts or floods? It's supposed to rain next Tuesday.
Really?
Marina did have an update that she gave when we met with Upper Lake. She talked about the mowing and having the equipment and the Clover Creek diversion project that was brought forward by, I think it was Angela a couple months back, the update on that as well.
So, but that was the plan that they gave us, the PDF file. And
the
that-
Clover Creek that we talked about.
Yeah, yeah, and
They're
that-
having like basically monthly meetings on that.
But there is a schedule on that plan, you know, so there is a plan, and it's in process.
But
And when it's gonna finish,
she had an update. She gave it to the Upper Lake leadership, asked about it, and she gave it to them, so
yeah, I actually posted that plan on the Worth Facebook.
basically ad-libbing, there's movement, however, there was no discussion about Peterson Bridge staff with that. I do know that in talking with her, for some reason, a commenting period stopped the process.
Well, I guess the whole thing was that they were gonna have a public meeting like at Running Creek and different things, so, and then it just sort of, not much information after that.
There was communication between Water Resources and Upper Lake. I was included in that, and then also Robinson had reached out to me to ask what it was about as well. So I know that they're in communication to still have that, so it's not as if it's off the radar.
Okay.
I just know
All
that
right.
they're still in contact. And
Yeah, well, considering the length of time that the plan is set for, it's not exactly gonna make a lot of difference whether they have it this month or next month.
Right, and so the biggest, I think, question for everyone is, when we get another update, is the commenting period. Why was it stalled? What was, what's the reasoning why it held it up? So, I think that's what we need to get at when we get that next update, right?
To what's keeping it from,
The commenting period, what in the commenting period is halting this, that's.
from going forward to completion? Yeah, of course. All right. So hopefully, we'll get some information soon.
It's a matter of, is there something more that we need to be doing?
I don't know what more we can do.
Are you talking about the study?
Yeah.
Well, about the whole thing.
It's very dismaying, to be honest with you, when Scott tells us just a minute ago that I just haven't heard from him. So he should be, in my opinion, reaching out to him through an email saying, what's the update on the study, where we're at, let me get some dates for the community.
That we have to understand exactly what the process is we're looking at. Scott says, you know, Pearson, Bristol, blah, 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 and then we can have a meeting here, and a meeting there, and a meeting there. So, it seems like whatever was happening is not quite happening now. So we need to,
When was the last meeting that Marina came in June, right? Was it June?
the
She gave an update then, and I
and
think.
she gave us the file that shows,
But-
that was the last, that was May.
May, okay.
Yeah, that was May. And that was.
But
Yeah, but
I-
it's like 3 months ago.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I think the community, I mean, that's just what I'm
Yes,
sensing,
we know.
everybody wants to know something, and I did, email
Yeah,
you, yeah, and I didn't know, what the, you know, the climate would be tonight. I thought maybe something would be presented, but I think there's a lot of, irritable citizens out there that wanna know what's going on.
Yes,
so.
I'm certain that everybody wants
Well,
the project to be done.
when people pay their taxes, they have a benchmark of twice a year that they need to get the check in for the county taxes. So I think it's incumbent on some aspects of the departments to return that courtesy, that they have a benchmark that they hold their contractors to. And we are talking about legal consequences if worst-case scenarios unfold in terms of untimely precipitation. That's the point of benchmarks.
So, yeah, I mean, how can we do this? It's like, there's a whole bunch of strings that are out there somewhere. And we're not even sure which one's to pull.
Well,
Tim, we have a,
Go ahead. Right.
You know, people, I look at Facebook,
Yes.
all the time. All these people ask questions, okay? Not mentioning any names.
I mean, can I ask you where in Facebook you're looking?
That's all I need, my Lake County awareness, Upper Lake this. If these people wanna know questions, why don't they get their ass down? Build this
That-
room up
That's what I,
and ask the damn questions.
yeah, but,
Instead of saying, hey, what's going on? What's going on? Tell me
But-
what's going on.
but-
I was told about the mowing down there on a message that the person told me, that they saw a quad go up over the hill with a mower on it, cut that one side.
So that might be the county.
They're saying it was the county.
It was.
Well, they have one, okay? Well, me as a citizen paying my taxes, I don't want Joe Blow down in that creek with all those weeds catching on fire.
Well, they say that there should have been.
Now they're saying, they said there was a water treatment. That was my concern last week. Whatever goes down in there should have a water treatment. Okay?
what was that?
So, I don't know how we're gonna get all these people together because all of a sudden, those are the people that need to be here to voice their concern, because I keep voicing it, my wife keeps
But-
voicing it.
And Ray, that's the point. You get, this thread goes on and on and on and on. All these, you know, an enormous amount of people responding or, you know, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. So the constructive thing would be to come, that's why I keep putting it out there. Come to the Worth meeting, share your concerns, and, let it, yeah.
Anybody here is, what about this, they say, come to the meeting, come to the meeting, anybody you talk to. Because we don't know what's bothering everybody unless they come and tell us.
Well, we know.
Yeah, we know.
I don't respond, and I'm not
Yeah.
going to respond to Facebook.
I was
Unless
at-
it's to my Facebook.
No,
I know,
I'm
yeah.
not saying you respond to anything, but just, I mean, like, this is why we're here, basically, for people to come.
And I can't help myself.
No, I'm glad you sent it to me, but
No, but I'm just saying, what I say, what I read, and I'm like, okay, then just show up. Here, it's the third Wednesday of every month. If you have a concern or a comment, come, but.
Well, like I saw at Jonathan's.
So here's the thing. Johanna is the clerk with you. She helps us schedule the meetings. Worth is one of the maps. Cobb Area Council gave a report. Reach out to her and see if you could come before the board and give a report, and that can be part of the letters. We did this letter, we did a transportation letter. We're looking for updates on specific things, and that's where you can give that report.
So if I go in and talk to her, she gives me an idea.
She's been asking which groups are next. She asked if CERT was ready. I said, I don't think they're ready. So I know
I will go in.
she was gonna reach out to you or her.
Or should I call her?
Either one. Get in touch with her and say you're ready and get prepared. Just get there.
Get an idea of what they'd like to hear.
Oh, you just report what you've talked about. Don't worry about what we want to
I
hear.
understand, but it's like, you know, it's like if you got a limited amount of time to sort of present.
It's like what you've been doing. You just talk
What
about
we've been-
letters,
what we've been
inviting
trying
people,
to-
having the workshops, just everything you've been doing. Just give that type of report, and then I'm sure the board will have questions or others will come and ask as well.
So
So people come and then we'll know as a board.
It'd be good to have a couple people.
There's no action taken, but it's a report if we can hear it.
And you said, you mentioned about the Cobb, they sort of gave
They
a
gave
couple years report.
Yeah,
And you were there when they did that, and thought that was, they did a good job. And, is there any way to look at that?
yeah, it's on the, should be on the recording, but you want me to send it to you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, just send me a link or something. Just to get an idea of how they, obviously, they sort of get held up. I can't post anything. The most organized of the banks.
They've just been doing some stuff.
All right, okay, now, we're pretty much at the end of the meeting, and we're over the meeting, actually.
I just wanna, Dennis D'Ambrosio, who lives on Manzanita Drive, would like to say something.
Oh, we just had a mountain lions incident on
can you-
Sunday in Nice. But I've
Microphone.
only heard of bears and mountain lions, up here on the North Shore, but,
Can you stand up, come over here? And just be gentle with the mic.
That way you're on the
Come
recording.
over here, you have to get, it's not on.
all right. So Kate lives behind me and my brother-in-law lives next door to me. And, at 3 o'clock on Sunday, I looked out my side sliding glass. In the afternoon. I looked and I saw a dead white cat and these pots were knocked all around. And I looked in the corner not far from the cat body was a mountain lion looking at me. I couldn't tell if it was a small mountain lion or a bobcat, but Kate came over to look at the cat because she's a cat person. And she was between that cat and the mountain lion was sleeping at the corner of the house or laying down, but looking at you, right? She took a photo from outside while I was hiding behind the sliding glass door. And then when the game wardens came, because care and control was closed, but so I did end up calling 911, and then she got called away to the fire, so she had to leave. But I could take a picture through my kitchen window. I moved and he was still sleeping right in the corner of the house. So he was there for hours. Not sure if it was male or female, but it had labored breathing, and it was just laying around with spider webs and leaves in his face. So the two male game wardens that came had a dog, but they weren't going to send it in. What they ended up doing was going on my second deck, throwing a stick at it, which it ran into Tim's yard and laid down for another hour or so. So they said because it's protected species that they had to go up the chain of command and then they talked to scientists and showed video they took out of my kitchen and everything. And so they ended up putting it down in Tim's yard. As we were talking on the phone, we heard the shot.
So I was actually taking a nap, and I think, was it a CHP guy?
No, it was two wardens and then a third warden came, a female.
But he didn't, he looked more like
Yeah,
a,
you got the pictures there, that's out my kitchen window there. See
But-
the leaves in his face?
but
They
anyway,
said it was really underweight and was probably sick, and they took it to Sacramento for testing his body.
so I was napping, and the guy kept banging on the window. What was that? What do you want? So he said, stay inside, and they euthanized.
Yeah.
Probably putting it out of some misery, so.
Question, did it, try to consume the cat?
No.
No, it didn't eat the
Okay,
cat.
so,
When
yeah.
the next day, it looked like it had a puncture wound behind his ear, and I think it was the mean feral cat, probably not chipped or fixed. And animal care control charged me $20 for disposal, but they were gonna check for a chip. You know? Yeah, you can't dump animals by the road, but, first I thought it was a domestic cat, a neighbor's cat, but I think it was a feral cat.
Cedar House,
Pretty much around Hudson.
across from DeMartini's.
But I was talking around the neighborhood and I've heard of bears in these, and bears and mountain lions have been killed. So they're up here, they're up. They're like going somewhere. What's that?
Well, that's even sort of farther in the wild. But, yeah, we do live in the country. Lions and tigers and bears.
They couldn't euthanize it?
They
They did.
They did.
They didn't have tranquilizer.
That's-
No, they didn't have any of that.
I asked the officer, you can't do anything besides that? And he said, it's emaciated, blah, 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 blah. But, you know,
But they
I've
couldn't-
personally seen, you know, you look on YouTube, they've rehabilitated horrendous
They
cases.
didn't make a decision on their own. They decided that they were sending video and photos to scientists and higher ups that they had to work up the chain of command.
And that's
Because
about
they're protecting species. They weren't supposed to, you're not supposed to just shoot them just for that.
All right, so,
Yeah, we were hoping they would say that.
do we have a motion to adjourn?
I still have Lake and Mendocino County resource booklets.
All right. Yeah, no, you get one. Anything left? Any announcements?
Sure.
Yes. No, wait a minute. Would you say highway patrol, Caltrans? Oh,
You do both, you just have to make sure that follow the script or you're gonna get a bunch of questions that's gonna eat into your meeting. You can do both,
yeah.
you can, you just have time to say, hey, you're gonna go exactly at this time, you're gonna go at this time. And limit the questions till after, so that way if you need to go over a little bit, you can. But when you ask questions in the beginning and everybody kinda gets
Yeah,
into
yeah,
that, and that's what, you know, especially if they're on the agenda too.
Yes.
But you do both.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those in favor, opposed say no. The meeting
Tim.
is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Tim, I forwarded you the